listening to Trustee Yim speak about the past really kind of generated some nostalgic thoughts about how this project started. And rather than I do a kind of a chronological presentation, I wanted to share some of the personal things that Aunty Malia and myself had to go through before we decided that we should be part of this project, because it really wasn't our decision. Before Tūtū Pukuʻi died, she passed away in 1986. And Auntie and I had spent a lot of time with her off and on. And during that time, we talked about what's going to happen with, the ʻike that was set forth by Tūtū, by Richard, and as well as Lynette, and all of the people that really pulled together Nāna I Ke Kumu 1 and 2. And so we said, let's go and talk with Tūtū Pukuʻi. Now, our kūpuna, you don't ask them directly, you think we can take on this responsibility? That's not how you approach them. So Auntie and I decided we would spend some time with her, and we asked her, why were the names 1 and 2 used for those 2 volumes? We knew why Nāna I Ke Kumu. And in that way, we thought maybe we could get towards where is this going to go. Pukuʻi's answer was very simple. She said, because it might be number 3. It might be ʻEkolu. And she told Aunty Malia and I, think about it and come back and talk to me. So we did. What we knew was that we had to find within ourselves, were we worthy to take on this responsibility? Because the thing that we didn't want to do is sound ho'oyo. Ho'oyo is like, oh yeah, I can do, don't worry, we can't. We were looking for ho'apono. We were looking for sanction from her. And when we went back to her, she told us in Hawaiian, because most of our conversations were in Hawaiian, she said, ho'imi ka ʻike I loko. She told both Aunty Malia and I, look for that wisdom or that answer within yourself. And then she dismissed us, came back again. What it really meant was, what kind of kuleana that we think we can undertake. This was not about us. It was not about writing a book so much as we needed to tell the story from our experiences as well, for our time and space. And I think all of the authors on this project, I know Richard and Lynette, because I think they already knew. They have been in life work. And it's certainly Kalei, but all of us had to come to terms with, are we worthy for this project? Do we feel that we can contribute rather than, yeah, I can? So as our discussions with Tūtū Pukuʻi continued, she never really came out and said, yeah, you guys can do it. But in the discussions, we felt the support from her. That started at least getting the ball rolling within the organization as she and I were working for the trust. And that's kind of like the beginning, I think, of at least working with our agency, because this book couldn't be written without the confines and without the organization. We were pretty sure about that. And that's why I want to thank, Pat, all of our trustees, the directors, Claire, Charlie, Ben Henderson, all of our staff that really, really helped us move this, because it was a long-term project. This was 20 years ago now when Auntie and I were talking. Finally decided that, and Tūtū had passed, I think, about 4 years. So what we did was, definitely we have to get a hold of Richard and share with him what we were talking. And Richard was kind of like, I think, a few steps ahead of us. He already knew. And he also knew, and he told me, Dennis, we got to do it through LT. So you got to take the kuleana of working with the administration and working with trustees. And I said, that's not a problem, but we need you on the committee for us to go. And Richard and Lynette, they're a duo. You get Richard, you get Lynette. You know, whether she was there or not, we know we would get her input in that. So thus the committee started, and this was about 2000, 2001 maybe. The first thing we established was, there are two things. The first was the tapes. The 600 plus tapes that were used and recorded over the span of 1962 to, I think, 1978. They were used to, as of data to publish Nāna I Ke Kumu 1 and 2. We needed to review those tapes. We needed to glean from that. Are there still cultural concepts that were not used in the book? The challenge for that was the tapes were 35 years old and they were degrading at an alarming rate to mold. So with the help of, and our agency, you know, they didn't have, we had some struggles. They didn't have the funds at the time, but with the help of OHA, Aunani I we were given the resources and to be managed by Hui Hanai, with their help, to find someone that could save those tapes. And we were able to find someone, one of the experts. His name was Dunbar Wakayama. What a name. But what a genius. Because he saved almost every tape except 2, I think. And incredibly, he was able to record it and digitize it. And that we have it today, you know, the agency have it. So Richard was assigned to go through all of the tapes, which he did. There weren't no surprises, but what they were was really expanded knowledge on the concepts that we knew about, that really brought meaning again to us. The second thing was we needed to get current data on case situations. And so Richard, and again with Lynette, were hired as our cultural consultants to provide cultural consultation to our social workers. We used part of that as the data for I think about 3 years. Thirdly, the data came from the committee. We were elders, we were older. We were able to share our stories. And you know, we lost Aunty Malia in 2009. And Richard Hala in 2015. But their knowledge, their contribution, we've captured. It's within this book. And indeed, they're the authors as well, as far as I'm concerned. So that kind of takes us up to when we actually begin doing the publication of writing. And Kalei was brought on to the committee to Aunty Malia, and you know, she just contributed so much to it. It was just natural for Lynette to come and help with this effort after Richard passed. So that's kind of like the, you know, the history of this committee. The others can talk about exactly what we made, but I tell you, it was a long journey. It was a journey that I feel so blessed to be a part of. Started with the organization when I was a green social worker out of grad school, and really was amazed at bringing together Hawaiian healing practices with Western healing practices, and that's the same thing we're trying to do today. So, in a nutshell, that's kind of what, from my perspective, what the history of this committee, and I'm just again so grateful for our trustees, our administration, and most of all our Hawaiian families, those that shared these stories, and the stories of resiliency, the stories of the culture we found, you know, is not dead, it's alive. It is very much alive within our families and within our Lahui today. Wow.